Buck Sexton, former NYPD intelligence analyst and CIA veteran, joins us now. Buck, good to have you with us tonight.
Good to see you, Shannon.
Let's talk first about this situation in Germany, because the accounts that we've read so far say 500 officers, multiple cities, they sweep up these 6 young men, say they believe they had contacts with ISIS, say they believe they'd been casing potential public targets, and yet tonight they say we had to let them go. What do you make of that?
It's highly unusual that you would have arrests involving hundreds of officers across multiple cities in Germany, and in a matter of hours, the story from the authorities to the press went from these are ISIS members who are part of an active cell looking to do essentially a replay of the Christmas market attack last year in Germany to we are letting them go. It just doesn't add up, Shannon. All I can say for it is that given the high tensions right now, the stream of threat reporting, all the chatter out there on jihadist sites, I think that both here and abroad in places like Germany, there's just a high level of tension and anxiety and concern among law enforcement that are tasked with trying to protect people from a mass casualty attack during the holidays, which we know the Islamic State wants to pull off and has pulled off in the past.
Yeah, and they want us to think about it. We know that, too, because that's part of terror. They want us to be afraid and change our life patterns. I know that they think that if they instill fear in our society, it leads to underminings of our economy, of the very foundations and fabric of our society.
One of the big problems you deal with as an intelligence analyst, whether law enforcement or on the federal side of things, is that you have to be constantly sifting out what is just chatter, what is threat reporting that is meant to throw you off from what is a credible plot or a credible terrorist attempt to try and incur casualties. And that's also something we have to keep in mind right now, because given the streams of threat reporting coming in, all stuff that's being published out there on the open source about the different venues that ISIS would like their adherents, not even necessarily people with any direct ties to the group, to strike specifically over the holidays because they know there's greater concentrations of people in the streets. There's also just the symbolic value of attacking any Western country, America included, obviously, during our biggest period of holidays. So they're trying to keep us on edge, which they do by putting out all these threats. But we also have to look at the threats as credible, because all it takes is one ISIS believer to get into a vehicle, as we know, and we could have a deadly incident on our hands. So law enforcement, look, they've got it here in New York. They've got it elsewhere in the country. They know what they're doing, and they're prepared for it. But they obviously have to maintain vigilance, and we have to keep an eye on some of these threats as they emerge.
Yeah, and of course, New York City, no mistaking that it's a target 24/7, 365. The mayor has addressed that growing threat and what's being done to try to beef things up. Here's what he said.
Because we understand we are dealing with a very challenging world. And so the amount of resources and personnel we put in has increased each year to make us safer.
So we understand there are sanitation trucks filled with sand blocking off important areas, sharpshooters on roofs there in New York, heavily armed police officers on every cop. They actually have portable radioactive detectors that they can use as well. You know, what's the mood there like? Because, yes, it's a holiday festive season, but authorities have a huge job.
Well, in the case of New York, the NYPD Counterterrorism Division and Intelligence Division are among the best equipped to deal with these different threats and possibilities, which is good because obviously New York City is among the very top terrorist targets in the world. They're specifically looking, Shannon, right now at trying to at least make a vehicle attack during the holidays, a mass casualty vehicle attack, something along the lines of what happened in Nice, France on Bastille Day not long ago, and has happened in other places in Europe, and happened here in New York City, but a matter of weeks ago on a holiday, on Halloween Eve. So they're trying to put in place all the barriers and all the defensive measures that they can, but there is no perfect security, and vigilance both from law enforcement and from Americans, everyday folks on the streets, is necessary at this time of year, given how badly our enemies want to hit us, specifically during the holidays.
They do. And we're going to keep digging on that Germany situation, try to get some more answers there. Buck, thank you very much, and have a great Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Shannon.